Hi, I'm Leslie, and today I'm going to read some scary stories from the internet, more specifically from Reddit, but here we go. Okay, so apologies right now if my voice is pretty low or if I'm whispering. Everyone's kind of sleeping right now, so we have to keep it at a minimum, but this makes it for really great ASMR type scary stories to go to sleep. Here you go, guys. I'm recording this on my phone. Okay, let's go. So the first story that we have today, let's see. Okay, I should have pulled this up beforehand, but it's okay. Okay, so the first story that we have is from a user called Gadvent, and it was from the subreddit Paranormal. What's the strangest thing you've ever witnessed that still has no explanation? Sorry, I was too low. Sorry, guys. Okay. My sister and I were recently remembering the spooky things we'd experienced at various houses we'd lived in growing up. The most sinister events happened at the last house that my dad lived at. It was a standard suburban house in an identical neighborhood. Nothing remarkable about it. The cool thing about that house was the unfinished basement. We'd never lived somewhere before with one. The basement had nice vibes, especially if you fell asleep down there. The only times in my life I'd ever experienced sleep paralysis were the 2 times I drifted off to sleep in that basement. The paralysis was so terrifying, it happened right on the cusp of sleep and awake. So you felt like you caught yourself falling asleep and stayed awake, but you were actually immobile and couldn't open your eyes. There would be great pressure on my chest, the feeling of something shadowy and dark behind me. And if I was able to flutter my eyes open, I saw static on the TV. I felt like I was suffocating, and I would try with all my might just to open my eyes and move my finger, because I knew once I did that, once I did one of those things, I would break the paralysis and wake up. It was honest to God terrifying. And to this day, I would get scared when I'm really tired and can't keep my eyes open because of fear of the paralysis. Other than that, I'm mostly conscious of my fear reaction. I'd pretty much forgotten of the paralysis until my sister and I were talking. She told me how nearly every night in that house she had nightmares, where she was sitting on a chair in front of the TV in the basement, which was playing static. In the dream, she could feel something dark and awful behind her, but she couldn't turn around. She only had those dreams at my dad's house and hasn't had them since. He sold it years ago. She told me that before I told her about my paralysis, and the story is what made me put 2 and 2 together and realize that paralysis only happened in that basement. I don't know what that was. Oh my god, that's actually terrifying. I would literally never go into that basement ever. You would never catch me in a basement ever, not only because I live in Florida, but because, they freak me out. Alright, anyways. This next story is by Melody_musical21, and they commented this under the, same subreddit as well. When I was a kid, about 8 to 10 years old, my room had a bunk bed in it. I had previously shared the room with my sister, but when she got her own room, I just kept the bed and used the bottom bunk to store all my stuffed toys in. Haha. I slept on the top bunk, and it was all too tall for anyone in my house to be on eye level with. One night, my dad was at work, and my mom and my sister were sleeping. I had stayed up late and had my phone next to me, so I checked the time before trying to go to sleep, and it was about 10 p.m. I was trying to go to sleep, and suddenly I felt a horrible sense of dread. My bunk was up against the wall, and I was facing outwards towards the room. I felt the bed shift, like something had placed its hands onto the mattress, and I heard this horrible, deep, raspy voice breathing right in front of my face. I was absolutely petrified, and I did not want to open my eyes. After a few minutes, it suddenly stopped. There were no footsteps leaving the room or anything. Just the breathing and presence I had felt were gone. And I was so scared, I still didn't dare to open my eyes. I just went to sleep. I know for a fact I did not drift off to sleep accidentally before this happened, so it was definitely around 10 p.m. And I asked my dad the next day when he got home, and he said about 1 a.m. When I asked if he'd come into my room that night, he said he hadn't. And like I said, even if somehow he was lying and had come into my room that night, and somehow I mixed up the times, the bed was too tall for him to have even been eye level like that with it. I'd never experienced anything like that sense of dread before, and haven't since. But I still vividly remember it, and I have no clue what it was. I feel a little sick just bringing it up again because it scared me so badly as a kid. Ooh, that actually reminds me of like a story when like I honestly had a similar type bed, except I had like a loft bed. But one time, I was in my bed laying down, and usually I stayed up a lot, especially in my younger years. I would stay up a lot as a kid, and I would just be on my phone, obviously, because that's what I do. And so I was laying in bed one night, and I share a room with my sister, but she had her own bed. So she was sleeping, so this really couldn't have been her, and also like it didn't make any sense. But essentially I was laying down in my bed when all of a sudden I felt like a hand slapped my thigh, like on the side of it. Like I felt like someone grabbed the side of my thigh. Like I don't know how to explain that. They just grabbed the side of my thigh, and it was like a quick second. I just like felt it, and it was on the side where there was like kind of like a hole in the railing. But like it was the middle of the night, nobody was there. Don't know what that was. Nobody was there. It freaked me out so badly. Like I think I went to sleep with my mom that night because I was like, no, I was so scared. Summer of 2006, I was 16 years old. We were on vacation in our hometown. Most people went on the coast at that time of year, and the town was practically empty. My afternoon routine during that period consisted of going to a friend's house and spending the whole afternoon playing video games. Then in the evening, we'd go to a plaza where we'd continue talking until very late. Then we'd say goodbye and each go back home. I remember that day we stayed out longer than usual, until 3 or 4 in the morning. My friend smoked, but we didn't take drugs or drink alcohol. After our chat, we said goodbye like every day, and I started the walk back home. But home wasn't like other days. Not at all. At a narrow street intersection, I looked to the right cross, and about 2 meters away I saw a person dressed in a red robe with a hood walking toward me. I noticed it was limping, and each step the small area was very well lit. There was a spotlight directly overhead. Seeing this gave me a strange feeling. The clothing seemed to be from another era, or like someone in a costume. But when I looked at the face, I was surprised to see nothing. Where there should have been a head, there was only darkness. Realizing this, I panicked and my heart started racing. I began walking a little faster as I crossed the street. I kept looking back to see if whatever was crossing too. I saw nothing, but the experience wasn't over. When I was halfway down the street, something in my head started calling my name. It was speaking to me telepathically, directly into my mind, saying, "Come here, Danny." Curiously, Danny is what my friends and acquaintances call me. My full name is Daniel. Upon hearing those words, I was filled with terror, and I sped up even more. Every 2 or 3 seconds, I heard it calling me again. It was a whispering voice, and I couldn't discern gender. And I got closer to home, it grew louder, intensifying so much. And this is hard to explain, that I heard the voice in my head, but somehow it was showing me a path, a direction to follow. Like when something falls into the water and you feel a ripple, I knew exactly where the voice was coming from, or where it wanted me to go. The message was the same, but as it was spoken, it marked several points. My street was to the right. The entity, or whatever it was, wanted me to go straight ahead. To this day, I still wonder what would have happened if I had followed it. But with the fear I felt, I turned right, and halfway down the street, I heard it for the last time. I had a night of reflection, and when I woke up, something screamed at me while I was in bed. Almost at midday, I heard a scream that terrified me. About 30 centimeters away from me, a normal scream no longer in my head. This was the last part of the paranormal experience / encounter. My friends still don't believe it, and my coworkers find it hard to believe as well. Even now at 35, I still wonder what I saw / felt that day, and what would have happened if I had continued down the path it was leading me down. Since that day, I believe in paranormal stuff. Ooh, I don't know what that is. That's some, dark magic shit. I don't know. Okay, anyways, moving on to the next story. And I think this is going to be our final story of the video. So, if you guys like the video, hit like or the hype or whatever it's called. Anyways, yeah. And if you guys want more of this, click subscribe, because this is the first video that I'm posting in this kind of format. I used to do vlogs, and now I'm kind of just doing, I don't know, I like scary stories, so I was like, I really want to read scary stories, so that's what I'm doing now. Just for fun. Okay, yeah, so this is the video. So this is the last story, and this is by Physics Forward 6194. My high school best friend lived in a super old, super big house. Her mom worked midnight at a nursing home, and we were always left home alone, sometimes with the exception of her little brother, who was 10 years old, floors away from us watching his TV. One night, we were smoking weed and listening to Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake in her room. Either from the hallway or the room across the hall, we hear the most horrific, blood-curdling scream from a girl. So horrifying, instant chills, instant anxiety, instantly freeze. It took us both a second to be like, what the hell? We restarted the song to try to see if it was a joke, and she thought I was pranking her because it was April 1st. I was so scared. I ran 2 floors down. Her little brother saw me and said, "You look sick." And I swear I almost had to call 911. I was tripping. I had to beg my best friend to believe me that it wasn't an April Fool's prank. And of course, after seeing my genuine fear, she believed me. We both still bring it up till this day. Many experiences in that house. One time, while I was completely home alone, we were all asleep in her room with the bedroom door closed. We'd always fight about who would get the wall side because the outside was by her door. I remember being woken to the 3 loudest, most aggressive bangs on the bedroom door. Bang, bang, bang. Not her front door, her bedroom door. I was scared. I first crawled between her and the wall, and then messaged her mom, hoping she'd try to calm me down or tell me something to make me feel better. Her mom said, "I know, it walks around at night." Then proceeded to share that's why she switched bedrooms. Okay, so give me the ghost. Okay, wow. Because her original room was under the stairs and she would hear it. Did not sleep the rest of the night. And again, contemplating calling 911 because I was just so young and terrified. Another time, friends came over to smoke. One guy had to use the bathroom, floors away. And when he came up, he was kind of rattled. Was mad because my friend's dog chased him the whole way up. Then he showed us what clawing sound he heard chasing him. There was no dog. What? Oh, what the? Oh, hell no. Wait, I have to read that again. He was mad because my friend's dog chased him the whole way up and then showed us what clawing sound he heard chasing him? But they didn't have a dog. Oh my god. No, I just actually heard something at my door. I'm scared right now. Okay, whatever. It's probably my mom. Okay. Okay. Also, her stepfather moved out before they did and said he would see faces in the basement. There was also always a radio on, no matter how many times it was turned off. This was the only place I'd ever truly felt where people mean when they say you can feel it in the air. And you can also tell when it's dark, because that was dark. Her family moved out and new people live there now. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't entertained the idea of writing them and asking if they experienced anything. Sorry, I know you didn't ask, but your story compelled me to share one story, and I couldn't leave out other details. Oh, that's sweet okay, that's really nice that they shared their story. But, I'm so glad they're not near that anymore, because I would be terrified to even live in a house that's even remotely haunted. I cannot imagine just being okay and just being chill with the fact that it's haunted. You're just like, oh yeah, that's, that's Fred. He walks around at night. Like, okay. Is he gonna, like, why is he banging at the door? Like, does he want to come in? Because I don't want him in here. I'm sorry, I can't get over the fact there was no dog. What do you mean there was no dog? What was chasing him? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Okay. That's gonna wrap up the video. Hopefully I don't get nightmares tonight, because I'm doing this at 12:30 a.m. because of course I am. That's really awesome. Of course, I don't know why I'm doing this so late, actually. Well, it's because I was trying to play with my camera, and I was trying to get, like, the camera controls set up, and it would not set up. And I got back late, okay? I got back late from work, so don't blame me. It's not my fault. Okay, bye. Thank you so much for watching the video, and have a good rest of your night. Bye.